Welcome to the Interesting Lawyers Podcast, brought to you by LawyerBetter.com. I'm your host, Russ Adler, and today we have a special guest who is not only an interesting lawyer, but someone who I just admire tremendously, not just because he's a brilliant personal injury lawyer, but because he is the most prolific social media poster of beautiful short-form video and other content. And I admire you so much. Introducing Eric Rosen. Eric, thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate you having me. Looking forward to our conversation.
I know you have a podcast of your own. You have a studio of your own. You have a cameraman of your own. You have a production company of your own. But thanks for being on the other side of the mic today.
Yeah, it's rare that I've been on the other side of the mic, so I appreciate you having me. And like I said, just happy to talk about whatever we want to talk about today. I'm excited about it.
Thank you. I'm going to grill you as best I can.
Let's do it.
But before I start, in the interest of transparency, I'm a little bit jealous of you. Why? Because you're younger than me. You're better looking than me. You're much better spoken than I am. And just the quality of your video blows me away. But then again, I know you've been doing it for quite a while. So I just want to get that off of my chest and let you know that. I've let that go.
All right.
And I love you as a colleague and all the rest. Thoughts?
Well, listen, I might be younger than you, but I think as far as well-spoken, I mean, you are a brilliant speaker, number one. And number two, you've been creating a ton of content. You got a great setup here. And, at the end of the day, as far as like content creation is concerned and whether it's age means nothing. I mean, I see on tons of different platforms and different, content creators, age doesn't matter. I mean, people are looking to hear from lots of different people across the board.
Yeah, but, as a consultant and a coach to law firms, I have quite the different perspective, or I hear quite the different perspective. These firms, they all have a social media presence. Many of them will just pay money to an outside company to post general, impersonal posts and not a lot of original content. And as fellow content creators, I think we can agree that the best and most effective content that's out there is short form video, generally speaking. Agree?
Yeah, I think short form video, but it has to be thoughtful, it has to be interesting, it has to be useful to whoever's watching it.
It has to provide value.
Yeah.
And I heard this poll result that I still really don't believe, that 79% of all time, that all people are looking at their phone, or 77% of the time, they're looking at TikTok, on which you happen to have 75,000 followers. And I'd like to congratulate you on that. I'm still working on my first 500. But I know you're huge on TikTok. How is that working out for you? Because, look, I think the younger lawyers are more friendly to TikTok and they're okay with it. A lot of the older guys, like in their 50s and 60s, are distrustful of it. They don't think much of it. I think they're missing the boat. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're missing the boat. I mean, TikTok is massive. It has crazy amount of users, and the ability to be able to quickly make a video on whatever topic it is that you want to make, it's extremely easy, user-friendly as far as editing your own videos quickly. But yeah, I mean, I would think if it's not for everybody, it's not going to be for everybody, but I think it is a platform that you can get a message out and you can provide useful information to a bunch of people. And I mean, the ability to have a lot of eyes on your content and your business, I think it's great, and I'll keep doing it.
Right. And before we go any further, for the record, even though this is not a deposition, for the record, I wanted to have an episode about law firm marketing. Okay? Just marketing by lawyers to their audience, which is the public, and different types or segments of the public, depending on the type of practice. And I thought to myself, who better to have than the ultimate marketer and self-promoter, Eric Rosen, because you are Mr. Original Content. Do you pay any of these general companies to post holiday wishes and things like that, or you do it all yourself?
So we've listen, over time we've done a number of different things in my office, and as far as content creation, I kind of spearhead it, but I have in the past used things where like maybe there's a holiday that comes along and there's some kind of general piece that goes out, but I've tried to limit just general like stock photo images, on any platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to do that. I don't like to do like just small like little tips and stuff with a stock image. I
Yeah,
think
but
you have to come out with something that's interesting.
by the way, how long have you been on your own at Rosen Injury Law?
So I started January 2020. I left my prior law firm. We had 0 cases. It was
And,
just me and a paralegal.
right. And how long were you at Kelly Ustall? That was the firm you were at before, and that's where I met you.
Yeah, so I was there for 11 years and rose through the ranks. I became a partner. I was one of their lead trial attorneys, handling major cases, getting 8-figure verdicts, and just got to a place where I said, you know what, it's time to leave the nest and open up my own business.
I'm blown away that it's only been 4 years,
Yeah.
because just judging from your level of visibility on social media, and that's really what I want to get into today and talk about. But so you're a personal injury lawyer. You continue doing personal injury practice, right?
Yeah.
Before we go any further, can you just tell our listeners overall how well has all of your social media marketing, be it on TikTok or I don't know what other platforms, but how well has that served you in terms of making money? And I know it's not an exact thing that you can figure out, but you tell me.
Yeah, I could pinpoint some of the best and biggest cases that I've gotten were through social media marketing. And it's not how you think. It's not just like, oh, I'm posting videos and someone's going to get into a car accident and see my videos. It's not that. It's about being, a person, like a normal person, right? And people that are going to relate to you. And then you have friends. And social media really starts if it's on Facebook or if it's on Instagram or whatever. Those are your friends. Those are people that want to support you and help you. So how do you stay in contact with them? You're not going to go out to lunch every single day with everybody. So how do you stay in contact? How do they see and know what you're doing and trust you and want to help you? And social media,
Right.
It's posting videos, posting content.
Right, but it's also building your name, building your authority,
Yeah.
building your knowledge, your smarts, building the optics that the public is going to see, and you will be someone who over time they come to know and trust because they follow you on social media in one form or another. How well did I sum that up?
No, I think that's pretty good. I think it's good. It's people that they're going to know, like, and trust you. They're going to see you. They're going to keep being reminded of you. They're going to see that you're a professional.
Right, but you don't necessarily know these people.
No, not everybody. Not everybody. I mean, well, really, very little. Actually, if you're talking about TikTok or if you're talking about Instagram, I'm not going to know a lot of the people there. Instagram, more likely, I'm going to have a lot of people that know me better. And then Facebook, everyone is going to know you. TikTok is going to be a much lesser crowd but yeah, you're staying top of mind. You're putting yourself out there. You're taking risks. And, listen, it's not going to be for everybody. Some of the content that you create, it may turn people off, and I'm sure people talk about some of the stuff that I've done and they're like, I don't know where Eric's going with this, but I know what I'm doing, right? And
Yeah, but
sometimes
at
you
least,
have to trust in yourself when you're doing it.
yeah, but at least you go out on a limb.
Yeah.
You state your position. I've never seen anything really crazy from you. But of course, you're never going to please. It's like JFK once said. You old enough to remember him?
Yeah.
You can't. You can please some of the people some of the time, right?
Yeah.
Now, some of the people all of the time, all of the people some of the time, but you cannot please all of the people all of the time. And so, have you gotten some negative feedback, threats, comments, or anything like that?
I wouldn't say I've gotten threats, but on definitely some of the videos that I've posted, like, you do get negative feedback from people, but then there's a group of people that they come on from the opposite direction. So I try not to post anything controversial. I don't want to be controversial. But you're gonna get comments, and some of them are gonna be not like they're gonna be hurtful. They're gonna be negative. But you got to realize that it's part of the environment where you're posting, and so you don't. It's kind of like sometimes you got to turn the switch off. I like the quote better where it's like, you've never lived unless you've made at least one enemy. Right?
I like that one. I like that one.
You haven't lived life unless you've made an enemy.
Right. But what I try to preach to my firms that I work with and my lawyers who I coach is to fight fire with water, not fire. Because as I'm sure you know, and you may remember, and you probably see this in a lot of younger lawyers, their default settings are basically to hit back even harder if someone comes at them, because it's driven by their ego and impulsivity, and they don't think these things through. And meanwhile, you can, it's very easy to become someone who has a bad reputation
Sure.
in the legal field. South Florida, as big as it is, it's still a pretty small community. Word gets around, and it's easy to get that. So, I'm sure you had your share of fights, especially at the level of cases that you were handling, and there were a lot of monsters that I remember. And I was just so happy for you that you started there. What better launch pad?
I'll tell you, when I was younger, when I started as a prosecutor, I was much more aggressive as far as how I would respond to the opposition, and then probably in my very, very younger years as being a personal injury lawyer at Kelly Ustal. But eventually, once you find your own groove and how you handle cases, but for a very long time, I've been extremely I want to be cooperative. I want to have a good relationship with the opposing counsel. I want to do my very best for us to have a good relationship. And typically, you end up seeing that, especially when you get to trial, is everyone wants to work together to get the case to get to a verdict for the most part, right? And
Yeah.
so, I'm not big on being the person who's just extremely difficult to work with, and I like to have a good working relationship with whoever's on the other side. And I think I end up getting better results that way.
So you file any motions for sanctions?
No, very rarely. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think I haven't filed a motion for sanctions. I mean, listen, if there's a court order and someone hasn't given you the documents or whatever, you may file a motion and say, hey, we want attorney's fees because they violated this court order. But I try not to even use the word sanctions. I get offended if someone files a motion for sanctions against us.
Do judges tell you that they see your video content on social media?
Yes, I know. I've had some judges.
Do lawyers tell you that?
Yes, of course.
Referring lawyers?
Referring lawyers, absolutely.
I know that you're doing this networking thing, building a referral network, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
I tried to do that myself, but has that worked out well for you?
Absolutely.
And what about clients, right? Whether you got them through social media or not, you have a lot of clients who follow you.
Yes.
Okay. What has anyone on a jury ever said? I know you. You're that guy. I follow you on social media.
I haven't got there yet. But I have been. There has been a level of the amount of content that we create. I've been stopped before, out in public. People will recognize me occasionally. It's not like a superstar or anything like that, but I have bumped into people and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Eric Rosen, blah blah blah, watch your content." And I thought it was actually pretty impressive. We went to one of these big marketing events. I went to this big marketing event in Atlanta a couple of years ago, and I can't tell you how many other lawyers stopped me in my tracks saying, "Oh my God, Eric Rosen, that's your stuff is awesome." And that made me feel good because it's it's working. People are seeing it. They're watching it. They like it. They're interested in it.
On my own small scale, I can relate. I'm only in my third month of this podcast, and I've gotten that several times. Most of them are from people who know me.
There you go.
But they say, I've seen it. I think a lot of what they see are the clips that I post as opposed to the episode itself.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with the average viewing times of whole podcast episodes? It's not very long.
No, it's zero. I mean, listen, I've been doing this for so long. I know exactly how long people are watching videos for. I know what videos are going to actually go viral, what videos aren't going to go viral, what videos are going to, I don't know. They're going to share it. They're going to like it.
So give some valuable information to our listeners.
The valuable information is you can't being the stiff talking head sitting there and trying to give a tip on personal injury or a tip on something. It's not what people enjoy watching. They want to see something that's going to be dynamic, something that has a hook, something that if you're able to get and start doing some kind of skits, right? Something where there's multiple people involved, where there's a twist to it, those end up having, I think, just a lot more engagement because it's kind of it's almost like you're, I don't know, you're doing something that's unique, right? And no one wants to watch the stuffy lawyer. No one wants to watch the person who's talking in legalese. They want to watch someone that's at least relaxed and natural when they're doing it, right? Whatever content they're creating, and then something that's gonna be interesting. We just posted a funny video today, and I we'll see if it does well, but I think it's on the right track. That's of the ilk of a good video.
It's a wonderful creative outlet. I mean, that's for sure. So, as I said, all of the firms that I work with and pretty much all that I know, they're all aware about the importance of being on social media. Many of them do not do a very good job of it, and very little, if any, original content. And I think everyone can look at a post and see that it was done by some company. But of course, you're on the completely other end of that spectrum with your own studio, your own production operation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see you all over the place. I mean, say, you know, I saw you down at University of Miami Law School, and then you were at some French restaurant. You know, you have very good taste in food, by the way. I mean, such a broad and diverse scope. So why have you chosen such a broad scope as opposed to sticking to subjects that are relevant to personal injury law and your potential audience?
I think, I mean, what do people want to watch? Do they want to watch just the same lawyer video over and over again, or do they want to watch content that, like I said, is just interesting? It's engaging. They say to themselves, "Oh, what's going on Eric's page right now? Like, what's Rosen Injury Law doing?" Because it is dynamic and it's fun, right? Like I think of like, look at what ESPN is doing right now. I mean, they're blowing up on TikTok. I mean, their followers, we could take a look, but it's 20 million, 30 million followers on TikTok.
Wow.
ESPN, and that's a sports network, right? But watch the videos that they're posting. They're posting viral videos about something that's like going to capture whoever it is that's watching. Not necessarily sports related. Sometimes, or it's not the typical, the typical sport. They're posting something different. Then look at Barstool Sports, right? Think about Barstool Sports. What is the guy? He goes out and he does pizza reviews over and over and over these pizza reviews, and then you get, you're watching content that's interesting, And so yeah, in like law can be a difficult area to find interesting stuff. I think people glaze over. They hear a lawyer sit there start talking about something, and they glaze over. Right when the pandemic hit, and I just opened my business, and I started Rosen Injury Law January 2020. The pandemic hits, everything shuts down. I said to myself, hey, I want to start creating content. I didn't know how to do it.
I remember we spoke about that at the beginning.
We did it. I didn't know how to do it. And so I watched YouTube videos after YouTube videos on how to make videos and how to cut up my own videos, what kind of cameras I need, the lighting, the audio. And I embarked on that journey to start creating videos that people would watch. And I would watch my own videos, and I'm like, man, these are so boring. They're so slow. And so I started watching what other people would do, and they would start cutting out all the uhs and ums, and they would speak, and would speak really fast. And so it had to be really in your face. And people would call me up and be like, Eric, you're talking way too fast in your videos. And I'm like, no. I'm talking fast so people will watch it and listen and get the point.
Right. Because the collective attention span continues to decrease.
Yeah,
right. It's a generational thing too.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like if you're gonna create videos, it can't just be, hey, call Rosen Injury Law. We're the best personal injury lawyers in Florida, right? It can't be that. It has to be something that's, like you said, giving value to somebody else. And that's what I've always, as far as my marketing is concerned, that has always been like the big picture. I got that. Whatever marketing book I read, on however many, it was like, it's not about call Rosen Injury Law. It's about how can I help other people? Why do I invite people to my office? I invite people to my office to help them grow. Right? How do I, like, networking events? It's not just about me networking, but it's about introducing other people to other people.
Right.
Right? It's about, creating a video. It's about giving a tip to someone, and maybe they're going to see it and it's going to be useful to them sometime.
And nobody does it better than you.
Yeah.
I just saw one of you just standing in the middle of a street saying, see these double striped lines here?
And listen, I don't know whether that's going to work. I don't know whether it's going to be well recepted. But you go ahead and do it.
Well, for
because
me,
you can't be scared.
Yeah, I've crossed those lines many times and never gotten a ticket, but
that's what I'm saying.
It made me mindful of that. So
well, some of it's basic. Yeah, some of it's basic, but some of it's also like, why do I go out and do these food reviews, right? I can't tell you how many people have been like, oh my God, they've sent me a text like, Eric, I stopped by this restaurant. There's a restaurant in my plaza, Luke's Seafood and Grill. And it was it was just opened up. They weren't out there in the public. The place is empty. The food was amazing, through the roof, unbelievable.
Right.
And I went in there and I said to Luke, I'm like, what are you guys doing to market this thing? And he's like, well, we're waiting for X, Y, and Z. I said, I'm bringing a videographer over here, and we're going to blow this place up. Yep. And we made video after video after video after video, and then we started posting in Let's Eat South Florida, let's do this. I walked in there the other day. The place was packed with people. And Luke and Roxy, I mean, they're amazing.
Did they comp you?
I don't get comped, but they do make special dishes for me on the menu, off menu.
So, Eric, let me ask you this. Yeah.
But I don't want to be comped, all right? It's about supporting the local business. I want them to thrive. You know what I mean?
I don't want you to be comped either, but I'd like to be comped. So let me ask you a question. In all of your time that is not spent personal, like with the family, away from that, where, the time when you would spend working, what percentage of your time is involved in video and content production versus practicing law? Because sometimes I wonder, this guy does an amazing job on the video part. Does he have any time to practice law?
Yeah, so I was like a firm believer in, I think it's what's the name of the book? I'm not even gonna remember it. But the idea is to be, you can't be everything in your law firm. I can't be the lead trial lawyer, the litigator, the pre-suit lawyer, the entrepreneur, the business owner. So you have to choose what is it that you're going to be, right? Why am I forgetting? It's like my favorite book.
So impactful,
Something
you can't remember
yeah,
the
I know,
name.
right? What the Revisited? Okay, whatever. But you can't be everything. And so I made a decision that I was going to build a business and a practice where I have fantastic, unbelievable lawyers that I'm able to mentor and be there and manage them on all their cases. So I know everything, have a great case management software, and I know what's going on in all the cases, and I check it every single day, and I know what's going on.
Let's give them a plug.
Filevine.
We use Filevine.
Yeah, we use Filevine.
Yeah.
Filevine's fantastic. And so I'm able to know what's going on with everything. I'm able to market the way that I want to market. And so I made a choice where, as far as legal work, right, actually like taking depositions or going to the hearings, I have a team of people that I've trained that do that.
Well, running your law firm and doing the admin stuff would be included in the percentage of time that you spend practicing. But just roughly, what is like 40% of your work time spent doing the video thing, 30%?
No, it would be
just give us an idea.
It would be less. I'd say 30% is maybe 25% is video, 20%.
Right.
It's not a huge. It's not a. I would say there's other like that's just one bucket of marketing, right? The video content, maybe I may shoot videos for 3 hours on a Monday morning. I'm done for the week as far as videos. I might make an hour video at some point, may do a quick TikTok or something like that myself, and that may take a total of 20 minutes, half hour. But let's say it's 3 hours on a Monday where I can crank out 30 videos. That's no problem. And they're done. I don't need to worry about it. They'll get sent to the social media people, and they'll be posted when they need to be posted.
How many other Eric Rosens do you know? People like you.
There's a few.
Well, practicing lawyers
Yeah.
who are as prolific as you are when it comes to posting content and building that audience and that presence on social media with their own original content that you have done brilliantly.
Yeah, I don't. There are people in other states and stuff. I mean, there's
not many. Is my point.
No, there's not a huge. There's a handful. I mean, I know there are some really amazing, talented lawyers on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay.
But it is few and far between. It is there, and some of them have tremendous followers. They got millions. You know what I mean? And so, again, it's how do you break through and really speak to the masses with that? Like, I don't necessarily know that I've gotten there yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe eventually we will. You gotta really you want an organic following too.
Okay, but let me ask you this for the benefit of everyone else who isn't like you.
Yeah.
For regular practicing lawyers who are consumed by, a lot of cases, a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of aggravation. You know all of that. Yeah. Having your own firm, okay? People who they have some money to spend on building their image on social media and whatnot, but they don't have your passion. It's more just a service that they need done, right?
Yeah.
That's a more realistic scenario that we deal with because there are very few people like
Sure.
you. What's your advice to those people who admire you, who want to do some original content? They have X dollars per month budgeted for it. What's your best advice?
We could do two things, all right? Because we're in the Interesting Lawyers podcast, and you got a fantastic business. But listen. There's a couple things. I mean, in all honesty, and I promote this on all my channels constantly. Is for
this podcast?
Well, not your. No. This is what I promote. What I promote is I'm always willing to help any other lawyer if they have an interest in social media to come by the office, and I will help them and show them what to do.
Will you post clips from this podcast on your social media?
Yes.
Thank you.
For sure. You heard it here.
Okay.
All right. This will be posted. There will be clips.
Well, now that you told me that, then that's the end of the podcast.
But
no,
again,
I'm kidding. Not yet.
You got there's all and I don't know. We have to also look at what post-production looks like, but you also want to make sure that they're vertical. There's a number of things that you want to do to make sure that when you're posting it, it's going to work. And I'm learning.
Right.
I'm learning all this stuff, and I've spent a lot of time studying it and learning it, and I'm hopefully just going to exponentially get better over the next few years.
I got that, but before we move on, to the future, what is your advice for all of these firms, guys your age and younger, probably younger, like in their 30s or whatever, right, who want to be on social media, want to do a better job of social media, want to have more engagement, okay, and and they only have X dollars per month and so much time to spend doing it. What is your best advice to them from you, the master of marketing using the most effective content of all? That's why you're on the show.
No, I get it. The best advice for those people who are extremely busy and they're doing X, Y, and Z would be to pick up their iPhone and either sign up for TikTok or sign up for Instagram and just start creating videos. And it has to be natural and normal. It's not some weird, like this is a tip so-and-so. It should be natural. It could be you walking through your office. Hey, I'm walking through my office right now, and we're just about to take a deposition. If you guys know what a deposition is, blah, 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 that's what it is, and let's get going. You know what I mean?
So I'm on TikTok. I started doing that.
Yeah.
This whole thing really is quite addictive, I have to say. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling it now a little bit, But you could pay TikTok $200 and they'll show your video to like 24,000 people. First of all, do you ever promote videos
No.
on TikTok?
Zero.
Why? Why not?
Because I want to see a viral response to a video, because I will never know whether that video that you just created was actually interesting to someone. You may see a bunch of views and maybe you'll get some engagement on it, but I want to see that whatever I created naturally hit the algorithm, and then I can tell from that video, well, I need to do a video like that.
But what percentage of all the content you've posted on TikTok, for instance, have gone viral?
A lot. I mean,
How do you define viral?
Viral, if I got 1 million views. I mean, I did a video the other day. We got 5-6 million views.
You did?
Yeah.
You're at the point where you can start making money just posting videos.
I get money. I've been getting paid on TikTok for a long time. They
You
send
have?
me money. Yeah,
Why didn't you tell me that?
It's not a lot of money. I mean, it's not really. It's not. I make a lot more money as a lawyer than TikTok stuff. And it's just like an extra fund that they give you, but it's a small amount of money. But the idea is this: is if you're going to be creating videos, why would you want to pay to have it boosted unless you're being very specific about who you want to target as like an advertisement? I would much rather prefer creating a video and then knowing that video like touched a lot of people because it was really cool, and then create a very similar video to that. I mean, what if I cover, you think about it like this, like you have that horrific murder case out of Idaho, the alleged quadruple homicide defendant Brian Koberger. He's up in Idaho.
With the DNA.
With the DNA on the knife sheath.
Right.
That's a case where it's like, as a lawyer, you can add value to people who are watching. So I create a video just saying, hey, I watched this hearing and blah, 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 this happened, da-da-da, these are my opinions, these are my thoughts. You get 250,000 views, 1 million views, 500,000 views. People are engaged. People are talking, right? That you got to look and see what is it that's going to capture people that are watching.
You got that on TikTok clips that you did not promote at all.
I never promote. I don't promote. I'll show you a video. We
And
can
does
talk
this-
about a
and
video
does this-
right now if you
Well,
want.
but does this have
You know?
anything to do with the fact that you have about 75,000 followers?
What you got to...
So in other words, organically, they'll see a lot of your content in their feeds, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah,
on
but
TikTok?
you can actually see. So you'll get... No, really, you can see whether it's the people that are following you that are watching it, what percentage, or whether it's people that are seeing it on their For You page, the FYP page. So
it
let me
gives
see
you
if we can find
those
this one.
analytics.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you get the analytics. You know what it is.
Do you promote videos on YouTube, or same answer?
No, I don't promote them on YouTube. Not yet. I mean, you got to make
So
a decision on what
Eric,
you're
we're
gonna
live
do.
on my video podcast. You're playing with your phone.
I know. I'm looking at
what's
it. I
the
want to see if
story?
we can find the how many views we got on that one video. All right, I'm gonna put it down.
That's okay.
We'll take a look. We'll take a look on a break.
But millions and millions.
Millions, yeah. And it all
So-
depends. It all depends. You never know what's gonna hit.
So I think that you have far exceeded the definition of an influencer. Are you an influencer?
I don't necessarily know that I'm an influencer. I mean, I think maybe as far as like in the legal world, like
Don't be humble.
local
okay?
legal world, I may be considered an influencer, but I don't,
Well, don't
very low
influencers?
level.
But don't influencers have a definition in the social media sphere? People who have at least X followers or get at least this many views. I think you do.
I don't know. I haven't looked at like what the definition of an influencer is, but I think, listen, one day, eventually, I expect, and you never know when it's going to happen, and you got to be careful because it could be negative to you. But you really, you want to make good content. But the possibility of going viral and having a lot of people watching and really liking what you're doing, it's there, and it's not too far of a reach. Well, and you never know what's going to hit.
But
right?
you've achieved that several times.
I think so. Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've gotten 8 videos with 18 million views. I've got videos with 5 million views. But the question is whether you're going to be on topic, whether it's really going to be law related, or it's going to be something that's a little bit more.
Who cares?
unique
That's
or
a lot
different.
of views.
No,
That's a
I
lot
get
of
it.
eyeballs, man.
I get it.
So do you have sponsors?
No.
Why not?
Who do I need to be sponsored by? I am.
What do you mean?
I
What if there's a
sponsor myself? You know what I
Of
mean?
course you do. I understand that. I'm not suggesting that you need help or you need money, anything like that. All I'm saying is there are a lot of people who have content that gets millions and millions of views, and they make millions and millions of dollars a year through sponsorship and things like that. I just heard a friend of mine said some guy moved to his neighborhood who has like the most popular dog on the internet, and he makes giant money with every video he posts. So my question is, if you're at that level, I mean, you may have to reach out and say, hey, here I am, look at my views, get out your checkbook and let's see. I mean, would you be open to that?
You know, as far as like,
Could be found money.
No. Listen, I've had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, Eric, will you post this video about this product that we've had?" I mean, I've had them reach out to me, and then when I quote them the money, they quote them how much I would charge. They disappear.
How much would you charge?
I don't even remember. It wasn't that outrageous, but listen, as far as like monetizing that side of things, like it hasn't been like the money will come. But I'm not saying I think business wise, I don't with any of this stuff. It's all for me. It's a free thing that I give away, right? It's something that I
get that.
give away that I think is, and I don't ask anything in return. If a lawyer comes to my office and we're gonna do a video about their business, right? They don't need to pay me for it. I pay the videographer to cut it up for them and put it up on my stuff and send it to them so they can use it.
Right. I mean, I don't have this podcast just as a vehicle to make money. I love it as well, but that's not to say that I would turn away money if it was offered to me for sponsorship of relevant products or services. And I will promote this video and this podcast so everyone gets to hear that. I think I have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube right now.
That's good.
And I'm pushing the video. So let me
You
ask
should be posting shorts. I don't know if you're doing shorts, but
well, I'm doing that as I just did one today.
But 1,000 subscribers is
well.
unbelievable. If I could tell you how long it took me on YouTube, and YouTube's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, you have like 1,800. I'm catching
We're
up
about
to
1,800, and that's phenomenal that you're up there. And you're paying to promote it. I don't pay to promote it. I've never paid anything for it. But
so to be clear, paying to promote, at least on YouTube, simply means that people who put in search queries, because it's the more popular search engine than even Google, if the video that I'm promoting would be within the results of the query that they put in, they'll show it to those people. So I don't know who they are. I know a lot of them aren't lawyers. I know that a lot of them are lawyers. I know a lot of lawyers who subscribe, friends of mine who I requested for them to follow me. But, yes, absolutely. So I pay them to show it to more people, and there's two ways to do it. You could say promote this video to maximize the number of views, or promote this video to build to build interest in my channel. I always take choice B, and so that's how I've picked up subscribers, and it's really pretty interesting.
Now I'm gonna have to go back to the office and start promoting my YouTube videos because we do a bunch of interviews of other lawyers that I really want to promote their business, but it's more. A lot of this stuff is actually just useful information about whether it's landlord-tenant law or if it's real estate law or if it's criminal law. Like we actually have discussions about kind of like what we're doing here, useful information for other lawyers about social media marketing.
Yeah, well, I'm out of the advice business, and my audience is actually law firms themselves.
There you go.
So I don't have to give them legal advice, nor do I give it to anybody. But it's just a bit of a different pitch for me. I was thinking about if you were at a bakery doing a food review, that would be appealing to the general public, and that's your audience, because when they get hurt, they often call you because you're such a superstar.
I enjoy doing those food reviews. It's like,
but if I went there, and my audience is lawyers, I might say, see this bakery? Yeah, I had a client bought a croissant at a bakery like this and bit into it, and there was a screw in there, and it messed up their mouth and this and that, and I did very well on that case. So that way, if there's a firm out there that has a food case, they might hire me as a one-off consultant, because I also do that.
I think that's good also, and I've done similar videos where I've walked out of like a Target and say, hey, listen, I've had a lot of cases against Target, and these are what the claims, this is how they're going to handle your claim, and this is my experience. But it's funny, the food review stuff, right? The major feedback is not from general public people, it's other lawyers that know me.
Right. Because they know you.
Yeah.
And the interesting part is when you're given the analytics, when you promote a video, the average watch time of a video from someone you got through a promotion is less than someone you didn't get from a promotion, which stands to reason because those people presumptively know you
Yeah.
or know of you, and they take more interest in you, and that's why they might watch even the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people call me; they watch the whole thing, like my brother,
Yeah. I mean,
my
listen,
wife, and a few other
my
people.
wife doesn't
but
even watch them anymore. Okay, I sent it to her. She watched it for 2 seconds, and it's very funny. But
She must be so over you.
no, actually, I created a video. She laughed at the one that I did this morning. But the book, The E-Myth Revisited, that is the book. You've read it, right? The E-Myth Revisited. You got to read it. It's an
think I
unbelievable
read
book.
it.
Yeah.
What's the premise of the book?
The idea of the book is, it's kind of set up in the way where like this coach business guy goes into this woman. She owns a bakery shop, and she's just kind of like drowning in her business and not making any money. And he kind of walks in and says, "Listen, you can't do everything. Like you can't be the baker, you can't be the manager, you can't be the entrepreneur. You can't."
I have read that
So you need
book.
to set your business up in a way where it's operating, where you can pick and choose what it is that you're going to do. And so I made the decision. I'm the entrepreneur and I'm a manager, right? And as far as we have other people that are handling the technical legal work and the other stuff trained by me, and also
Right.
with my management, my supervision.
Yep.
You know.
I did the audiobook on that one.
And so it frees up your time to be able to do the things that I like to do, which is show up here on a Monday morning where I can sit and I know I'm comfortable. And I know the office is operating, the team is there. If they have questions for me, they're going to get in touch with me. I can, but it frees up the time. And so you have a lot of lawyers out there that are drowning and they're trying to handle everything and they don't have a legal assistant, or they're using a part-time VA who doesn't know what they're doing, and I think you have to set up your business in a way that it's operating smoothly, it has systems in place, and then that will allow you as the lawyer or the business owner to decide what it is that you want to focus on. And maybe it's not making social media videos. Maybe there's an associate that should be doing that,
Yeah. And that's kind of why I like being a consultant. I follow
Yeah.
a consulting business model such that I make my own hours. I do whatever I want. And when people call me, I answer, unless I'm in the middle of a podcast,
Yeah.
which I just got about 3 calls while you were talking. And I got to wait.
So you got to turn her off completely.
Until I'm done. Yeah, but when you're paid for access to your brain 24/7,
Yeah.
and as a lawyer, you know how it is. Oh man, I have this hearing this afternoon at 3.
Yeah.
I better get Russ on the phone. I get a lot of that. Or jump on a Zoom, but Zoom has really enabled me.
And I think it's a fantastic
me.
business model too.
It's a great business model, but the really concerning part is just that any lawyers who were barred in 2020 and after, that even those who do litigation, many of them have never even been to a live hearing.
Yeah.
They've never been to a live mediation or a live deposition, and you're certainly old enough to remember this. First of all, that's how you and I met, face-to-face thing in the courthouse, and that's how you build relationships, and that's how you build trust, and that's how you build rapport with judges. And I'm of the mind that a good lawyer knows the law and a great lawyer knows the judge. So it's important to know judges, right?
Yeah, you gotta go to the events.
And then depositions, fighting, having a good spirited argument, sharpening, your proverbial knives, if you will,
absolutely.
is much better in person than a Zoom interaction. So because of that, there's been a case of arrested development, and that's something that you may not think about or consider very much with younger lawyers, but it's something I focus on because I see so much of it as a consultant, as a coach, and obviously those are the ones who need the most help. Because we just take for granted that we have those skills, we have those relationships. You're someone, I did have to chase you. You weren't the easiest guy to nail down, but finally I landed you in my studio voluntarily.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for that, you and other heavy hitters.
But listen, I mean, you're a titan in the industry. You have an extensive background, trial experience, managing a law firm, running a law firm, and I think that what it is that you do for other law firms is a tremendous benefit to them. Whatever it is, I mean, especially in the personal injury arena. I mean, that is your wheelhouse. I mean, what's funny is, and you obviously wouldn't remember this, but when I was in law school, I remember you came in and you were teaching our class about trial advocacy. You were coaching one of the teams, and I remember sitting there in awe, thinking to myself, how does this guy speak that way? Like, how is he so on point? I remember it. And I remember the board was up and you were talking about a case, and I remember saying to myself, like, that's who I want to be. Like, I want to be I want to be a trial lawyer. I want to be the lawyer that can get up and command a room. And you still have it. You know what I mean? It's like...
And I love you for that,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. I think I remember that vaguely. But I will tell you this. When I was a law student,
Yeah.
same thing. Guess who came in to speak to us? John Krupnick and Gordon James
Yeah.
from Conrad Shearer and James,
These
formerly
are titans.
Titans. And, so they really inspired me, and it's about giving back. And I know you're big about giving back. You'll even drive down to University of Miami Law School to give back. That's impressive.
FIU, too. I mean,
Yep.
that's all of it's down south.
All right, so we're coming to a wrap.
All right, let's
but
wrap
before
it up.
no, not yet.
All right.
We're going to do one more thing. Can you please grab that crystal ball that's up on the bookshelf behind you?
crystal ball?
Absolutely. With the stand, please.
All right.
Put it over here, right in the middle.
Let's go.
Okay. This is something you can consult if you need to answer this question.
Go ahead.
Okay. You've had your practice for 4 years. In 5 years, where do you think you're going to be? What's it going to look like?
Yeah, so we obviously we're big on. Well, listen, I take a look and see.
Doesn't
All right,
work
where am I
hasn't worked very well for me.
Okay,
But just saying.
Where am I going to be in 5 years? All right, so here's where I see Rosen injury law. Listen, we're big on having a mission statement. We're big on core values and principles. And our mission statement is to grow and expand each year while never compromising our core values. That's what it is. And so I see our firm expanding, not just staying within Broward County. I see it expanding into other counties, growing slowly, right? We don't need to grow too fast. But we're going to have a number, we're already up to a total. I think it's me plus 3 other lawyers. We got a great team. We're already outgrown the space that we're in. So I expect to have at least probably 1 to 2 more offices in 5 years, a number of more lawyers and teams that are working on cases, and just I really want to be like known as just a high-end professional, top-notch personal injury lawyer in Florida. I mean, really, what I see in 5 years is when someone thinks of a car accident case or someone's been injured, they're going to say Eric Rosen. They're going to think of
Right.
Eric Rosen.
But
That's what I see.
But 4 years in, with all of the exceptional efforts that you've made, and all that work, is your case count, your revenues, are they on an upward trajectory? Is that
Yes.
how you're able to project out 5 years?
Yes, I can easily project, at least like with what I've seen. And again, I've had luck with a number of cases that came in at a certain point in time and how the value of those cases. But if I separate those cases and I look at like cases that are coming in on a regular basis and the different avenues that we have as far as our marketing, as far as our plan, and as far as what we're doing, the trajectory is up. And the trajectory is eventually, let's say within the next 8 to 10, 12 months, we're going to have enough cases where we say to ourselves, we need another lawyer, right? Or we need at least a couple more staff members, something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
So I track it. Like you're big on the metrics. We have a program called Domo, which integrates with Filavine. You've heard of it.
Seen
so
it,
we're
yeah.
able to see, I have the charts. I'm able to kind of see what we compare it to last year to this year. And really, I really want to have, it's a law firm, but we got to run it like a business, and we have to know
Right.
what the numbers look like and how. But listen, again, personal injury is it's a fluctuating thing, but we want to see it kind of like the stock market. It kind of goes, It's going to have some dips, but it's going to continue to rise.
Yep, but you're spot on with the analytics. The numbers speak. So, looking into this crystal ball, I think you're right. I think that is where you're headed. And it's the best result I've ever seen in that, so I'll keep it.
All right.
Thank you very much for
Thanks
coming,
having
Eric.
me. I appreciate it.
And please come back.
All right, let's go get a sandwich.
All right.